Just as a reminder, once we're done with this episode, we're only going to be halfway done with the airport series. So there's a lot more airport for us to love.
Well, let's get the party started.
Your enthusiasm is infectious. That's right, folks. On this episode of Why Wasn't It Better, we return to one of cinema's most treasured franchises. Maybe. Airport 1975, released in 1974, kind of like a new car model. It arrived right at the absolute peak of the disaster movie craze, right alongside The Towering Inferno and Earthquake, when Hollywood figured out that all you really needed was a stacked cast, a ridiculous premise, and the promise that no one was safe. The problem is that Airport 1975 doesn't just stretch credibility, it obliterates it. At least until the next film, Airport 77. The characters are thin, the dialogue is clunky, the central gimmick is absurd, and yet I think it works. It's dumb, it's watchable in a can't look away kind of way. So we're asking, why did this movie make a fortune? Why does it still hold your attention? And why was 1974 the exact moment the disaster genre hit its ceiling before collapsing under its own weight? This is Why Wasn't It Better? I'm your host, Patrick Darms.
And I'm your co-host, Anton Paras.
And here to try to put a raw egg back into its shell is a very distinguished guest making his second appearance on the pod. He's a podcaster. He's the host of the Jacked Up Review podcast. He's a filmmaker. He's an audio drama creator. He's a true crime history researcher and an all-around extraordinaire. Cam Sully, welcome back.
Welcome back, Cam.
Thank you, sir. When you said, is it safe? I thought we were talking about Marathon Man. No? Darn.
Excellent reference. This is a disaster movie with a pretty low body count because you get to something like The Towering Inferno. You truly no one is safe in that one. This is far less violent than that.
Yes, and you had some wonderful drinking game details that you put some serious thought into. I think it would work perfectly for this movie.
Yes, in case the listeners are wondering, when Cam and I were texting each other yesterday, I advised that if you do drink, you can play a drinking game watching Airport 1975 by taking a drink every time Charlton Heston calls Karen Black honey. And I don't think you'd make it far.
No, and because like you say, it's every minute the character is drinking, every minute someone's saying each other's name or using that dubbing, and you're just like, yeah, it's going to be a long haul. I sadly do not drink. I do have a drinking.
Nothing wrong with that.
I do have a drinking and eating game that I especially recommend for if you're watching something infamous that many people saw, like say all the American Ninja movies or something like Walker Texas Ranger. You can do a drinking and eating game. Take a drink each time you hear the hero's name, which might be 3 times, so that'll be okay. Have a cookie or a sweet for each fight scene. And if you're going to watch these movies or shows all day, just down an entire block of cheese. Cheesy movie night. So that's all I can recommend. And so in this case, yes, for this entire Airport franchise, you will go through maybe 6 different Havarti or brie cheeses. I don't know what kind of cheese you guys prefer. Is this a Swiss movie kind of cheese? Is this a Pepper Jack? I mean, even looking back at
pick. I mean, I don't know how you'd rank cheesiest franchises of all time. This would be very high on the bracket.
Because you guys have done Seagal movies and confessed to, hey, they're fun, but we gotta endure his awful persona to get to the good. You know.
have either of you guys ever been to a bar or a spot where they just have a crock pot of like nacho cheese going in the back and you can serve yourself?
I haven't, but that sounds awesome. That would have totally been 2010 to me.
It's a very like old school, like
sounds amazing.
Dive bar vibe, and the cheesiness levels.
It's just lava ounces of cheese. Just like
it's just
Velveeta, like not even real cheese, just Velveeta.
It's processed, and I feel like that's a lot of what I got here. It's
processed cheese.
They have a bit of a template going on, but people are going to eat it up.
More on Airport in a second. Cam, tell us about your podcast. What do you got going on? Where can people find you? What's on deck?
So for the month of April, we do our best to have only comedy related stuff because it is the month of April Fools. You can expect to see some very amusing comedy roasts, and those were not easy to plan. but I was like, let's go back to early Dean Martin, star of Airport. Let's go to classic Comedy Central. There were so many people who should have been roasted because they were a pop culture icon who went downhill or had some kind of infamy to their name. And it was fun getting the fellas into it because it's like, hey, let's try some people who we all love, but they've had some downfalls, or they're imperfect, or you can make fun of them. But again, just be clever with it. And finally, we were all speaking the same language. It's like, yeah, let's give it our best shot. And we had some other guests. We had so many different kinds of just ways to go about it. So yeah, we'll be exploring different comedy groups. But the whole point of the show to begin with was let's explore just anything that has any kind of audience and do an origin story with it, so to speak. And lately we have been doing some crossover stuff. So there's a bunch of video games that became comic books. Maybe those are some fun story enhancements. Let's see. Or maybe they're just unneeded tie-in material. So it's been fun exploring that realm of entertainment lately. It's like, it makes me almost wish that instead of making endless sequels to various movies, why don't they do what they did, what Bob Gale and Zemeckis did with Back to the Future, where they make a potential sequel in comic book form? You know, it's like that, I think, would save, and at the same time, it might get non-comic readers into comics because they're reading a pre-existing property in comic form, and vice versa. I think comic fans are going to like it too. It's like, wow, that was really cinematic. This movie works even better as a comic. So we just are exploring a lot of tie-in stuff and getting blown away at what's successful and what other stuff is almost as bad as if it were an infamous movie sequel. So that has been kind of the various tasks lately. And lately we've been doing themed months. So we'll do a Star Wars themed month, but explore less talked about stuff. We will do plenty of Terminator months for the coming years. We are going to do a Godfather month for all things Mario Puzo, Coppola related.
Ooh, that sounds
and
juicy.
so on. Juicy. The Corleones!
I love it. I love it.
But thank you for these airport movies. I had an episode in the can I hadn't released yet, but like you say, this goes back to your slasher movie theory, where there is something about a disaster movie where you gotta just see it with your naked eyes. You just think, I'm turning my quality filter off right now, and I'm gonna check this out, and then might even watch it a second time, so now I can look at it more objectively and subjectively. It's just, but it is funny how it goes in stages where you're like, I'm kind of in a mood, and even if I'm not, I'm gonna just put this on right now. And what's the worst? And many of these movies, even when they're junk, I kid you not, anyone who says I have not spent any money on it, yes, you have. You absolutely will. It even blows your mind when you see other blockbuster movies that are dubbed disaster films, like the Speed and Die Hard films. But I mean, even the airport vanity of it all is so present, even in all these other 90s blockbusters like Sudden Death and every other Schwarzenegger, Dolph Lundgren movie. So, but I mean, and as we mentioned before endlessly, there's so many TV shows that make a living just showing cool, muscular guys stopping earthquakes and terrorist takeovers on islands from happening. So it's just, there is something about a disaster scenario where even people who say I'm not a fan of that genre, they have seen something by it somehow, because it's just in so many, it's in the blood of cinema, kind of. It's just,
it for sure is. And first of all, thanks for giving the listeners a preview of where what you guys got going on in the pod.
Yes. Comedy roasts.
Just to remind our listeners, I appeared on your podcast pretty recently.
You did.
For a wonderful discussion about Sidney Lumet. And when that releases, let me know, and I'll be sure to
not
promote that on our channels.
Not long.
Awesome.
Within these next 2 months. And that was pretty balanced. We finally got the pronunciation of his name down, but
I wasn't sure before I appeared in the pod. I'm like, have I been saying this wrong like my whole life? I don't know.
One person got me into it.
Apparently it's Lumet. I don't know. I've heard both.
Lamenting the facts that it's Lumet. Yeah. And I was just glad we were able to stay focused on a movie and then get into the next one. It made it easier for me to split it up and talk about a guy who's kind of a drill sergeant of cinema. He's like, we're going to go here. We're going to storm.
So for this movie,
yes,
I'll intro this for us. Airport 1975 was released on October 18th, not 1975, 1974, by Universal Pictures. It was directed by Jack Smite, The screenplay was written by Don Ingalls with a story credit for Mubaraz Hajimuradov. Inspired by Airport by Arthur Haley, starring Charlton Heston, Karen Black, George Kennedy, Gloria Swanson in her final film, bizarrely. Ephraim Zimbalist Jr., Susan Clark, Sid Caesar, Linda Blair, Dana Andrews, Roy Thins, Nancy Olson, Ed Nelson, Myrna Loy, Augusta Summerland, and Helen Reddy. The budget, brace yourselves for this, $3 million. That's $20 million adjusted for inflation. And the box office return on this was $103 million. That is $672 million adjusted for inflation. Anton, that is one of the best returns I think we've ever seen on the history of this pod covering films. That's insane.
I don't know how the producers don't just throw a massive party upon getting those numbers.
I'm pretty sure they did.
Yeah.
This only has a 32% Rotten Tomato score, but who cares? It's called Airport 1975. When an in-flight collision incapacitates the pilots of an airplane bound for Los Angeles, stewardess Nancy Pryor is forced to take over the controls. From the ground, her boyfriend, Alan Murdoch, a retired test pilot, tries to talk her through piloting and landing the 747 aircraft. Worse yet, the anxious passengers, among which are a noisy nun and cranky man and various drunks, are aggravating the already tense situation. Cam, we've been pontificating our curious love for the Airport series over the past few minutes, but I gave you a list of films that you could appear on. Why'd you pick this one?
Because, like you say, it's we're getting into a franchise that not only was promised, we will cover every angle of this, we're doing it with a movie that, while not always liked by everyone, is generally considered a good film, and then you got these sequels, and without fail, it's kind of up there with Jaws and everything. Well, people will constantly mock the sequels and say, just watch Airplane instead. And it's just watch both, because there is something, again, it's not just morbid curiosity, it is also just, they're all-star ensembles. This is what we had. I know we're spoiled now, and now it's so obvious that every movie has to be an ensemble again. But in the 70s, this is where they are first making this be second nature. And like you said, with the rating on Rotten Tomatoes, it's everyone was going to this. It was critic proof.
Right. It was by far the most dominant genre of its era. And Anton, we covered the first Airport basically 200 episodes ago, really early on in the podcast.
Yeah, I remember that.
It was a hugely successful film, the first Airport. It made more money than this did. I think a lot of people forget the first Airport was nominated for 10 Academy Awards, including Best Picture. It won an acting Oscar for Helen Hayes. This sequel did not get any Academy Award nominations, to no one's surprise. But Cam, you're right. It was critic proof. The box office numbers really are staggering. That is just an absurd amount of money. This is what audiences wanted at the time. The first Airport movie, Anton, is low-key one of the most influential movies of all time, because it really did create this disaster genre. And nobody remembers it today, except maybe older folks and film nerds like us.
Should we blame Arthur Haley, who's both British and Canadian?
I want to thank him, but I'm pretty sure he's dead.
He is. So yeah, we can praise him. Critics are probably damning him. They're your novel inspired these movies.
Anton, what's your history with Airport, the series, if any?
So looking back at these films, airing back in cable syndication, very, very vague memories of that. Airport 75 has a much more vivid memory for me, just because of, a singing nun, and then, of course, the parody and how closely tied this film is in terms of its influence on, of course, everyone's favorite fun, wacky parody film about a disaster airplane adventure. So I feel like this in itself feels like a parody. It feels like it's so meta about every single aspect of the film and what we see. But I'm one to say that I've become more and more of a fan of disaster films as we've covered them, because it's been a minute since we've covered one. I think, what was the last one? The Hindenburg?
Yeah.
Yes, which you absolutely hated.
Yeah. This is totally different. Totally different.
You hated it to the point where I sort of got the implication that you were like angry with me for having made us cover it.
I could never be angry with you, pal.
I don't know. You were like, I can't believe I had to watch this. But yeah, that was September of last year that episode came out. So yeah, it's been a little bit.
So yeah,
Unless you want to count A House of Dynamite as a disaster movie. That film was certainly a disaster. It stunk.
Well, I guess just as though I was sitting in my cockpit and then another plane hit me to wake me up. Here comes Airport 75.
This was the first sequel in the disaster genre. Cam, if you really look at the year 1974, this was the undisputed peak of the disaster genre. You had this, you had Earthquake, and you had the biggest movie of the year, The Towering Inferno, which topped $200 million at the box office. It made more than twice this. This came out, within months of each other. So, I wasn't exaggerating when I said earlier, this was by far the most successful genre of the 70s.
Totally. How about just 74 is a pretty underrated year in general. Like, I mean, we got just so many different movies which are just key because the thriller genre is taken off. Chinatown, Parallax View, and Conversation. Mel Brooks is on a great cruise ship.
Mel Brooks peaks in 1974 for sure.
It was like Young Frankenstein and Blazing Saddles. We got
in the same year. That's insane.
Unheard of.
That's insane.
Pretty great.
We got cult movies like Texas Chainsaw Massacre and Death Wish, Afloat. We got the first Godfather. You're just like, geez.
No, second Godfather.
Yeah, the second in 74.
Sorry, my bad, 72.
Coppola does Godfather 2 and The Conversation in the same year, which is also...
So, there you go. Two filmmakers with two of their best movies.
Leading men were so different in 74. You still have Charlton Heston carrying the torch for the earlier generation. We got Charles Bronson strong in 74, right?
Death Wish, and got the Taking of Pelham 1, 2, Freeze, so there's another disaster.
Awesome movie.
Jack Nicholson, Burt Reynolds. Barrel-chested hairy chest. That seems to be what the leading man hallmark in 74.
Right. I think we would have seen that in this film if Charlton Heston wasn't wearing the turtleneck.
Right.
True.
But you were talking about leading men. I mean, The Towering Inferno, I think, gave us the best example of it because you had the two biggest male movie stars, Paul Newman and Steve McQueen, in that film. And that's the big thing with that movie.
Gentlemen.
They really were. I mean, we enjoyed covering that, Anton. That's a really fun movie. It's almost 3 hours, which is a lot. Imagine if this had been almost 3 hours. What would you have done?
If I was also playing the game of take a drink every time Charlton Heston says baby, if it's a 3-hour film, I probably would have blacked out.
I don't challenge anyone to actually try it because I don't think it'd be good for your health.
I think it's too much.
It's a lot.
I hadn't seen this in quite some time. Like Anton, I remembered the original films on cable. I think I've seen the first one the most. A very satisfying, distinct memory of watching the first Airport with my entire family basically around Christmas time one year. I have no idea why, other than there's snow in that movie.
I still constantly see them replayed on HBO. They play a lot of stuff from the Warner Brothers vault, but for whatever reason, they like to show part 4. So it's going to be interesting seeing you guys' take. But
The Concorde?
Yes. Robert
Wagner.
Wagner.
It's been a long time. Who else is in that? Alan at the line?
A lot of people who you're just like, them as heroes or as villains?
George and that Kennedy came out in 79, and by that point, the disaster genre was on fumes. And then I think Airplane killed it.
I think so.
Airplane definitely killed it.
I'm still aghast when you sent me the trivia notes, and I'm just like, Joan Crawford could have played this role. It was like, first off, given how she was very opinionated, I don't think casting her as an aging alcoholic actress was ever going to be a role that anyone of her type would have ever accepted.
The inclusion of Myrna Loy, who is basically playing the same character from The Thin Man. I choose to believe this is the same character.
The Thin Man universe.
But they have to, like, this must have been deliberate, right? They're like, let's just cast her as this woman who orders Boilermakers.
That makes sense because we got Jimmy Stewart in the next one. Hey,
Right.
He's in one of them.
Somehow, yeah, that's a
Jimmy
paycheck
finds
role.
a way. Jimmy finds a way.
Well, believe it or not, Myrna Loy is our connection to the 6 degrees of Warren Beatty's sex life.
Oh, it's a quick one.
I was wondering when that question was going to come in. I was like, is it Heston? Is it no?
It's direct Myrna Loy.
Doesn't okay.
He hooked
Makes
up
sense.
with her. And Helen Reddy.
Are you surprised Warren Beatty himself is not in one of these? Or
I'm not, because he would have seen this as beneath him.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Because you think about it, he's not in that many films. His acting credit is like kind of sparse.
I get distracted by his ego, but then that also is why they didn't hire him for so many projects. Because it's like, yeah, you're giving us the runaround and putting us on the spot. And
Yeah, well, Warren Beatty was never someone to worry too much about what other people thought.
No, he was not. I mean, he's an interesting guy to read about for the obvious reasons, but also just from a filmmaking thing. I mean, he was a true auteur. He was not motivated by money. That's for sure.
True.
He got his money early. He used it to his advantage to make his own projects. I look forward to covering more of his films. Like, eventually, Anton, I don't know when we're going to get around to it, but like Reds is one of the most fascinating production histories in films I think we may ever cover on the podcast. It's such an interesting movie.
Another early Nicholson role, and he's another one who he was asked for years, why didn't you do this or that? And it's like, and he, Dennis Hopper, and some of these other Hollywood wild bunch, I like to call, they were all about, if I don't like it, I'm just not doing it.
Well, where's the cocaine?
Where's the cocaine? And is it by a director who can do a good job?
Does it come with a surprise?
Now we're doing Christian Slater doing Jack Nicholson. But
I've been working on the Heston voice because he has a just incredible.
What
are you going to do? Go shopping for one?
Shopping for one? It is a wild one where it's like, he's like, you can put some Brando in the tone, you can put some of those other presidential kind of voices, and then you got to kind of, it's a pendulum just with that voice. You got to kind of make it just kind of still sound bigger than everyone else, but I don't know how to pin it down. It is one of those unusual gruff,
it's a very
voices.
distinct voice. There's a lot of gravel in it.
Yeah.
And I was wondering, like, at what point did they think they were going to have to incorporate the lazy eye into the script? Now listen, honey, look at the gauges. Because you have a lazy eye, you might be looking at not the one I'm talking about.
Look, audience stage left.
Stage left.
There's a hole in the plane. No, that's not the one I'm talking about.
Now this needs Shatner. Must look.
Oh my! Shatner
That's
would
the
have
one
been
I'm talking about.
Shatner would have been too much for this.
I would have
I
loved.
Oh my God.
I would have loved to see Shatner as like a pilot
Oh,
in one of these.
he is in Airplane 2. He's one of the highlights of Airplane 2 for sure.
True. So he had a shot.
He had a shot.
As Captain Kirk being George Kennedy's character.
Well, Anton, let's move into the production history for this.
Let's do it.
Yes.
I feel like I've been talking for a lot, Anton. You want to take
Sure,
over for
sure.
this?
I'll take over
Here we
here.
go now.
All right. While the first Airport had been a massive hit, there were no initial plans for a sequel. And after the Poseidon Adventure was released in 1972 and cemented the disaster movie craze, Universal ordered a sequel to its most successful film. Joan Crawford was approached to play the role of an aging alcoholic actress. However, she refused, and the character was played by Myrna Loy. Charlton Heston was paid $200,000 plus points on the box office, which earned him several $1 million. Earning points on things. Something else I've learned from The Sopranos. Now, Gloria Swanson wrote all her own dialogue. She also delivered the last line of the film. This was her first movie in 22 years. She explained, quote, "I was holding out for a picture I could take my grandchildren to see, something exciting and contemporary without senseless violence."
Senseless violence. You lost me there.
The production rented a Boeing 747 from American Airlines, and it cost $30,000 per day. The aircraft was leased to Trans-Mediterranean Airways briefly in 1976, before returning and being converted into an American freighter variant. In 1984, the aircraft was sold to UPS, where it continued to serve as a freighter for over 20 years before being retired to desert storage in 2005 and
Wow.
scrapped in 2011.
Jeez.
Principal photography lasted from May to August 1974. The film was shot on location at Salt Lake City International Airport. The airport interior scenes were shot extensively at Washington Dulles International, which features heavily in the opening credits in the early portion of the film. Shooting overlapped somewhat with the tail end of production on Universal Pictures' Earthquake, forcing Charlton Heston, George Kennedy, cinematographer Philip Lathrop, and producer Jennings Lang to juggle their schedules between the two films. This film ended up being released first. Universal was able to keep the budget quite modest since they were able to reuse nearly all the sets from other productions. And that brings us to our promo break.
As always, we want to thank everyone for listening. If you are liking the podcast and you haven't already done so, please follow, please subscribe, please leave comments wherever you're listening or watching, wherever you get your podcasts. We're on all the social media platforms. Links to all of this are in the description. We highly recommend checking out our Letterboxd accounts to really become a great way to follow us. And of course, if you really, really like us and you want to throw a few bucks our way, we have a Patreon link. You can get early access to episodes, ad-free episodes, bonus content. All right, let's talk Why Wasn't It Better for Airport 1975. First reason, I think we can just talk about some big picture / franchise context. Is this even a sequel?
No, not in a traditional sense.
Right. Because, like you say, Joe, the mechanic, and in this one, he's now the vice president for Columbia Airlines. But yeah, other than that, there's no connection. It's almost like the in-name only sequels for other franchises, like, you know, anything else involving monsters or slashers or what have you is like, yeah, nothing in common except it might have the same killer or a brother of the deceased villain, you know?
It's a shared universe, right? So everything that has happened, disaster-wise, has also happened in this universe, which I think would be terrifying enough for me to not board an airplane in 1974.
They should have totally done an anthology show. Can you imagine?
An airport anthology series?
Tales of the Airport.
Oh my gosh.
By Rod Sterling.
Well, you could. Oh my gosh, you're onto something here, Cam.
That's why it would be better.
Die Hard 2 could easily be incorporated into that.
It's totally an airport.
It's always happening in Dulles.
That's a great shout. That's a Dulles movie.
Executive Decision is totally an airport movie.
It absolutely is. Air Force One, sort of.
Yeah, with Tom Clancy, Jack Ryan. Yeah, there you go.
Put it this way: I was looking on eBay for Columbia Airlines apparel, and there isn't really any.
Nothing.
No, I think this is a little out there.
Not even poster, fake merchandise, anything.
I figure Pan Am stuff's going to be easier to find.
Which was an actual real airline.
Right.
Oh, there's a ton of Pan Am stuff now.
Yeah.
And it's actually funny you say that, Anton. You know the Pan Am terminal that's been opened at JFK?
Yep.
So that's spawned this whole new interest in Pan Am stuff. So there's a ton of stuff now available.
I thought there was just a big resurgence after Mad Men.
Oh, there might have been from that too. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I think you're right.
It's just like me really being into Marlboro clothing. It's not because I smoke Reds. It's just, dang it, all of the gear looks cool.
It does.
Maybe
you have to give cigarettes credit for that. They sure do look cool. Remember
Bill
Joe
Marlboro.
Cool, the camel?
Yeah, yes, I do.
Could this have used some more camels? They might as well have had a camel. They could have had a camel on here, given how this doesn't live in any reality.
No.
Good point.
So here's another theory. This is in the Planet of the Apes universe.
Oh, I hope it is.
Oh, that's a great theory.
Because here we go. We got Austin Stoker. You know him best for blaxploitation films, Assault on Precinct 13, the original, and what have you. But remember, he was both Bruce McDonald in Battle for Planet of the Apes, and he was astronaut Jeff Allen in Return to the Apes. I mean, he's no stranger to disaster stuff, doing Victory at Entebbe, and among many other things. Yeah, I'm really surprised at the star power in this. All these people, so many. Just Jerry Stiller.
And the cast. We have. I mean, you could do a whole podcast on the cast.
Sid Caesar, Eric Estrada. You're just like, good.
We'll go through them one at a time.
Yeah,
they deserve their own mentions.
It's true, and I think that we're really touching on the fact that I think the studio knew a film this size, it's a good chance to put together star power. There really was star power, and I think that's a great way to utilize this genre of film, is to put together ensembles.
People ate it up.
I think, going back to original bad movie featured on the show, I think John Boorman saw this movie and he was inspired to make Exorcist 2.
Oh. Oh my gosh.
That is Reagan, right? Like, it's just there's a demon.
There's a demon possessing the plane.
When she shows up, I like I said, I hadn't seen this movie in a while, and like I'm sure both of you had the same reaction, which is you're just immediately confusing stuff with Airplane. You're like, wait, what? Isn't that the girl from Airplane? Oh my gosh.
Oh god.
It is amazing how much that movie mined from this. And like, you want to say it aged poorly, right? Like, it's so dated, it's so cheesy, it's so sexist, it has weird racial humor in it, which I'm not entirely sure they designed to be jokes, but I don't actually think it has aged poorly, because if you read some of the contemporary reviews of this film, critics were tearing into it in 1974. So it's like, it's basically, it hasn't even reversed aged. Like, it hasn't aged at all. I don't really know what their intention was making this, but I kind of love it.
I think you're onto something, because like, there are some other awkward things, but no one brings it up because they're so distracted by all the other shenanigans. But I mean, as you guys covered before, the original film, it was not a critical darling, but that was one of the few where the audience kind of spoke louder than the critics. And so they were just like, hey, well played. You got some accolades, so well played. Second time around, we're going to be way more stricter, and for good reason. You know?
Yeah, it's really interesting, because even by 1974, Hollywood and audiences are definitely not, the concept of satire is not foreign, right, to audiences. We have major satirical films that have been released up to that point. I think Blazing Saddles, right, that same year.
Right.
So having awareness of what the film is, I really do think that this was just one of those beautiful moments where everyone was playing it straight, just not realizing everything is coming across as just bizarre, and there's beauty in that.
It's beauty. They're at the height of their fame. Some of them are rising, they knowing that something like this is going to be a big hit, so they're just like, I trust you, I'm just going to do what you tell me. If I got to be drunk to do it, I'll do that. There's definitely no one's holding back at the same time. So like you say, we're enthusiastic about this, but we're also admiring them. Is like the fact that they would commit to something and just not ask any questions. It's like, you know, you kind of do get to that point. It's like, I'm so-and-so. And I mean, Heston and even Karen Black, they're definitely at that point where it's like, hey, I can do what I want. George Kennedy, you know, he's already done Cool and Luke and got an accolade from that. So he's like, I'm George Kennedy. I can do whatever. I can do whatever. You will like what I do. I'll be good. I don't care if the movie's good or not. I think it'll be fine, but at the same time, I'm not doing quality control. So
well, let's get into the next reason then, because we're already touching on this, the tone, the camp, the so bad it's good thing, because this absolutely for me falls into the category of so bad it's good. This is a bad movie, but it's a good bad movie.
What gave away that it was so bad? And I mean that in earnestness. Let's I think some examples would be great for the audience.
It's all of it. It's the premise. I actually think the tone of the ultra seriousness with which they're approaching every single scene. That's why, like, I don't think they intended it to be funny. I'm sure someone at the studio must have realized this is going to be ridiculous.
Yeah.
But I was wondering, like, what were they satirizing? What were they parodying? There wouldn't have been anything for them to parody at this point. They were sort of trailblazing, to use that term.
Because even the movies that Airplane is making fun of were obscure ones, like 0 Hour, but those were just... those weren't widely seen movies. So, yeah, whatever they're doing here, I really think they just said, hey, I think this is totally... the closest example of what you could see to this today would totally be like something that The Rock's doing, some of his over-the-top blockbusters. You could see it definitely with something shameless like the Saw franchise, where it doesn't matter. There's always going to be someone there. It could be the biggest dump and someone will be in line. You kind of have that with something that is better liked by both critics and audiences, like John Wick, but same deal. You're already having people saying, I want more, and other people are like, just give it a moment, wait for the script to be fine-tuned. So you're definitely getting to the nuts and bolts of gimme, but wait.
I think it's all really great points. I also think it's just taste change, and I think awareness changes as well. Yes. I see a lot of, I don't know why it comes to mind, but even just like pro basketball fashion. It's what 70s basketball, you had like short shorts and then people were dribbling to their chest but that was it. And like that was everything in pro basketball across the teams. It's like you don't not wear short shorts that go all the way to your hip. But nowadays everyone looks back at that and say, well, why were they dressed like this? And why did they dribble like this? And it was in earnest because that was what was the style. But
fashion definitely confuses me, and especially in movies like this, because like you say, if you talk to others who go, I don't know why they're dressed that way, then you're even more confused, because then it makes you go, was that a character choice? Did the actor show up drunk and just they filmed whatever? It leaves
this
definitely
movie might be number one on that list.
Oh yes.
Yeah. It's bringing up more questions than answers, but this is not David Lynch territory. These are not questions we're actually supposed to be asking, so I don't know why it's there.
I wrote down this is just junk food. I mean, that's how I approach these kinds of movies. Like, I think it's almost endearing that Airport and Towering Inferno were nominated for Best Picture.
Yes.
I actually understand it, like why they were, and I think it's interesting though. Like, it's unfair to lump all the disaster movies into this category of cheesy, right? Like, Anton, both of us were kind of blown away by how good the Poseidon Adventure was. There's a couple cheesy moments in that movie, but to compare the Poseidon Adventure to this, I think is a mistake.
Yeah, there's a few things, right? And I definitely encourage all of our listeners to go back to that episode to see what we said. But one of the big things we talked about was execution and earnestness. I mean, such great character-driven moments in that film, whereas I don't think characters were really written in this film to have those same moments.
True.
They sure weren't.
Back to the original question, why wasn't it better? The plane is not the star of this. You could say the ship is the star of the Poseidon Adventure. You could say the building is in Die Hard and Towering Inferno is the star.
Great point.
I can't. The bus is definitely the star of Speed. Even half the vehicles Arnold Schwarzenegger crashes in every Terminator movie is some kind of, and you don't even remember if it's a Ford or what.
There's a huge emphasis on the asteroid in Armageddon. They never forget to keep cutting back to shots of the asteroid hurtling towards Earth.
The Alcatraz prison in The Rock.
Right.
So, but yeah, executive decision, while you could say you don't really remember the plane, you remember the whole, how they got into there. Same thing with Air Force One. You remember the dynamics and tech used. I don't remember even seeing this twice. I don't remember any technical innovation. Now, foreshadow, there is some technical plot twists to Airport Part 3, but I don't get any techno babble from this movie. And first one, they were very tech savvy. They're like, we're running low on fuel. We're running out of time. We're doing that. There's a big emphasis. Some of it probably from the book, some of it just to create tension, and it worked. I don't remember much of anything on either viewing of this movie on what makes this plane stand out from the others, other than we're running low on gas fumes. It's like they decided we don't have the biggest actors, but we're still going to give more attention to them anyway, even though you could argue those stars they were originally picking definitely would have added more to their roles, even though they knew it's beneath them. I think Heston is acceptable in this, but I do wonder if he knew it was beneath him or if he just approached it as a gig he could pull off. I don't know. Maybe both.
I think the fact that he filmed all his stuff in 12 days, he was like, yeah, cool, just wire me the money.
Okay, perfect.
I agree with you. I like Heston in this movie. It wasn't much of a challenge for him material-wise, no. I would imagine. They give him some good lines, and I'll say a point in this movie's favor, there are some good lines in this.
Yes.
I'm totally with you on the actual disaster, though, which we'll talk about later a bit too. No. It's like it.
What is the plot?
It's boring, but also entertaining at the same time, which I know sounds weird, but I do think it is.
The closest we have is we'll have action movies that don't have good fight scenes, but we dug the story, so we let it go. We had horror movies that aren't scary, but because the atmosphere and style was good, we let that get away from us. Yeah, it's not scary, it's stupid, but it's entertaining. So I think we're kind of in this space, but at the same time, this goes back to we're being entertained by the wrong reasons. I'm looking at director Jack Smite's resume. He's done a lot of stuff that I have seen or heard of. He does the disaster movie Damnation Alley later on. It's kind of a cult movie. He's done Midway, which I will admit I'm pretty disappointed by, but
yeah,
he hasn't
Midway is not very good.
And then
also with Charlton Heston.
Also, that's right, it is with Charlton. But yeah, a mixture of TV movies, drive-in stuff, 2 episodes of the TV show Code of Vengeance. What a great name. And the Cannon Films movie Number One with a Bullet. And then followed by a non-pornographic but pornographic-sounding Intimate Power adventure movie. So
that's funny. Oh, gosh.
It's like, is he still with us?
No.
I know. He passed away in Ofray. But he won a Primetime Emmy, so hey.
Yeah, he also, randomly, I have seen this film, 1966, Kaleidoscope, starring Warren Beatty.
Oh.
Warren Beatty.
Oh!
Warren Beatty making a connection here.
So in a way, we still can blame Beatty for this movie. This is his sex life in a disaster. They had to have been talking.
I can't. If he had showed up in this, I don't even know. I mean,
I'm just saying, he probably asked him, where would you like to have sex on a plane, blah, blah, blah. Where would you flirt with the stewardess, blah, blah, blah.
He'd be like, what's Karen Black doing?
Besides being intense and amazing.
What are some of our favorite lines in this? Because there's a
God.
bunch.
I want to sing to her. What?
I want to sing to her. Oh, goodness. So there is an awesome line. Joe's line is very perplexing. Is there much damage? No, not much. There's just a hole where the pilots usually sit. This is dialogue I expect in like a schlocky, like made for video, like Jim Wynorski movie, not a big top of the power.
Was he the only character using sarcasm, or was Heston's character also?
I
guess he was, because I like that Heston line. What are you going to do? Go shopping for one?
Well, there's other lines, though, that feel like they are meant to be sarcastic, but they're not. Norman Fell's character, Bill, says, this thing will never get off the ground. Never fly. Take my word for it.
You wrote down this one, Pat, but this one still, it still gets me. I'm emancipated and highly skilled in kung fu.
Which is delivered.
What was that about?
It's delivered during what I think is like a normal conversation.
That's perfect.
I once had a girlfriend who was half French and half Chinese. I came home one night and she ate my laundry. It's a real line of dialogue from this film, which I assume that is supposed to be a joke.
The writer was like, this is going to be so good.
They were drunk.
That joke is definitely not funny. Except
this
is
going to be
reasons.
Profound.
I think it's racist, but I don't even know how.
Right, like I don't know how, but it's
kind of like starting a rumor about a race. There's that angle, but then like you're saying, like who's it supposed to offend because it's so dumbfounding? So it's like
I don't know. Oh, who's afraid of the lines then? I'm Jewish.
Yeah.
That's delivered by I just thought it was Melanie Griffith, but it's not. It's a completely different actress.
I feel like a lot of these guys went to the Comedy Store and only heard the punchline, hence why there's no build-up or sense to any of it. You're just like, okay. It's kind of like classic infamous movie fame. So now it makes me wonder if we can find some legit good reviews of this infamous movie.
There are not many. Like you can find them, but it's I mean 32% isn't great. I want to stay on the quotes thing because Melanie Griffith tells Eric Estrada's character at one point that he is a disgrace to his race. This was like real dialogue in the film, which I guess you could say they're just flirting with each other. They're talking shit. It's supposed to be funny, I guess.
Was this pre-Chips?
I don't even know. I'm not an Eric Estrada expert. All the stuff Estrada says is bananas. He takes the little black book out.
I always enjoy myself a nice Eric Estrada appearance, if only because I'm a massive C-Lab fan.
Yeah, that's true.
Did you get upset when his character was killed in this film, Julio?
I knew he was going to be fine.
But he died.
Yeah, but then he was in Chips. He's fine.
Okay.
Don't you love how this is Cagney from Cagney and Lacey is in this. I think this was her police training.
Oh my gosh.
Sharon Glass.
I do like the line, is this thing going to work? It's going to be like trying to put a raw egg back in its shell. That's good. Good analogy.
Yeah.
And I have to give a shout out to my dad's favorite line in this film, which is uttered by Charlton Heston. Climb, baby, climb. My dad quotes that a lot.
He was talking about his sex life in that. That is for sure.
He was.
That had to have been an ad lib or a Warren Beatty reference. Can't convince me otherwise. Wow.
Because you want to talk tone. The actual disaster itself. By the way, I thought that the guy who crashes the plane was Boris Karloff.
He does look like him. We have Dana Andrews in here, who's a neo-noir guy. But yeah, I did kind of think there was a Karloff type era guy in this movie at one point. So it's like, yeah, I mean, they pretty much got anybody who any of these studio bigwigs had worked with or knew was awesome in some capacity and put them in here. But yeah,
it's confusing because would you agree he deliberately always looks like a bad guy?
So unfortunately,
if you've never seen this movie before, you're like, man, what's he going to do? Is he going to like deliberately crash the plane? Because he looks so antagonistic. Even when he's on the phone and he's just like, no, I got to get to that. That's half my sales commissions, man.
Even if he was a hero, you would think he's a just demented janitor at worst. You you wouldn't think this guy's going to save us.
I mean, I don't want to sound insensitive, but when he has the heart attack and crashes a plane, it's genuinely hilarious. Like he's just like, oh, his acting is hilarious.
I don't think it's insensitive to say that because we've already said before, a lot of the very sincere moments in this film that are not played for laughs are hilarious.
Pauline Kael, I think, finds the root of the problem. She's never nice to any movie, and I'm not a fan, but I think she said it. I think she said it perfectly. Airport 1975 is processed schlock, not possessed, processed schlock. And it's really beneath the level at which movie criticism might serve a function. One almost might think it has been conceived as a campy joke. So I think
she's definitely onto something there.
Yeah, I wonder if the director got the gig, being from his B-movie TV background, and then continuing on. I wonder if he approached it like the other Universal TV guys approached the Jaws sequels. I really almost wondered, let's just do my best shot. But by the way, I'm not really enthusiastic because I have no creative control. So fuck it, just film what's there on the page. Just shoot it.
Before we move on to talk about the cast, I want to say something. And I want the listeners to write in with this feedback. And if anyone doesn't know the answer, I want them to try to do this and let me know how it goes.
Try.
My question is, can you successfully order a Boilermaker on a flight? If you ask a flight attendant for a whiskey and a beer chaser, will they serve it to you?
I don't.
Obviously, in 1974, you could do that. I'm talking about now.
Yeah, no.
We can try. I think you can try. I've seen very impressive things successfully procured on a flight.
I think they will give you another drink or give you another discount on your next vacation. I don't think they will.
I've seen.
Let me say this: I have successfully ordered a double on a plane.
Wow!
I have successfully seen someone get a crown made of mini alcohol bottles.
Wow!
I could see
it was their birthday.
I could see some kind of birthdays. That makes all the difference. Kudos if it's also the pilot's birthday. Then it's on the house. I could see maybe something like Virgin Airlines doing some kind of upscale special something. But yeah, I don't know. I would have to ask some other pals in the airport business.
I'm really curious because, like, obviously, if you're in first class, you get more leeway.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
I'm not talking about first class. I'm talking about us poor folks who fly in steerage.
I'd say it's especially impressive if you're on an hour flight because they don't want to give you anything on an hour flight.
If it's a minimum flight time, they can't serve alcohol. I think it has to be at least an hour.
Right. Okay. It has to be.
There's some kind of time cutoff.
There has to be some kind of detour where they go. Okay,
yeah, like I once flew from Newark to Boston and they couldn't serve liquor. I mean, we tried. Shout out to podcast guest Ryan, who was on that flight with me.
Yeah,
hey, Ryan.
It's any SF flight to LA. There's always drinks served, at least. I mean,
that's like what, 90 minutes?
it's a super fast flight.
Yeah. But if anyone knows if you can order a Boilermaker on a flight, write in and tell us about your experience doing it, because this film inspired me to try it. Now I respect myself, and probably the next time I'll be flying, it'll be with my wife and child, and I don't think that would be appropriate. But for the sake of the podcast, I'm willing to try.
Just a bit.
Anyway, sorry, that was a sidebar, but I think an important one, because I think this is the stuff we need to know.
We're getting real, yo, because this movie lacks realism. I have some reviews that I think actually define this movie. So Frank J. Avella of The Contending gave this a B-.
Whoa.
That's very generous.
It's generous.
Complimenting Karen Black's committed performance, blah, blah, blah. But David Newser, who I expect way better from. Don't get me wrong, he's got plenty of hot takes on his Real Film Reviews site. He gives us a 3 out of 4, saying a solid entry with the disaster movie canon that is predominantly speaking more hit than miss. Okay.
All right.
Interesting take.
It's like a backhanded compliment.
But I think a lot of these guys, if you are a disaster person, they will go with the misses. Skimming through it.
I think it sparks a really interesting question. Among disaster films, does this go on Mount Rushmore?
This movie, no.
Yeah. Because if we're going by quality, but watchability, like I would absolutely go back to watch this.
Yeah,
100%.
Which I think, does that earn itself a spot? I mean, because slim pickings, right? Like let's really think about it. I put the Poseidon Adventure up there, right?
Absolutely, that's the best disaster movie.
That's got to be up there somewhere.
Yeah.
I'll put Die Hard.
Is that an action movie?
Action disaster.
Okay. So you want to get out of the 70s, right, Anton? You can any disaster.
I'm saying what is our Mount Rushmore of all time disaster films? Ooh,
no,
that's
real life disaster.
That has to be on the list. I think Armageddon has to be on the list.
Yeah.
Hindenburg, just so Anton can knock it off with a superior one, and
it's on Anton's list. I mean, I would have to say the Towering Inferno is pretty iconic.
It's iconic, but I don't think it's at the same level of the other films we just mentioned.
Yeah, I mean, we got to put in some kind of. It can be real life. It can be. I mean, if we get into alien disaster stuff, then we'll be here all day. So yeah, it's got to be just something that will by storm.
Yeah, just circling back to it. Maybe Airport 75 isn't on Mount Rushmore. It's a stand. It's a stand 2 blocks away.
All right, yeah.
2 blocks away. Perfect. So we can demolish it.
Well, let's get into the cast then. Let's talk about the cast. We've been talking about them inadvertently already. I did write down everyone was drunk, including the pilots. It really does seem like everyone was drunk. They were really putting an emphasis on people ordering drinks, drinking. There's flasks, there's hard liquor. I mean, when I say hard liquor, there's martinis, there's whiskey, there's wine, there's beer. This covers the whole spectrum of alcohol in one film.
Linda Blair was 15 at this time. I think she was drunk too.
I was absolutely drunk. Guarantee. Let's start with Charlton Heston, who is the co-protagonist of this movie. I would argue it's really Karen Blanc, but he's the biggest star in it. He plays Alan Murdoch. I can only assume he was spending time between takes on a tanning bed. His skin is medium rare.
You don't think it was just they were overheating the gaffing equipment?
Well, I think that's another part of this movie. I mean, everything looks like it was made out of polyester. They must have been sweating buckets.
It was like, we got to get the shot.
His outfits alone make this movie watchable, Anton.
Oh my goodness. It's just it's a treat.
I'm convinced George Kennedy said, if you want me back, I'm an award winner. You got to level up my character. I'm not just going to save the plane again.
I want to be a VP.
A career boost is like, I went from being the mechanic to the VP. I doubt that would happen, but especially within this loose timeline, I know it doesn't ultimately matter, but come on. Like, that's a big, big career boost, becoming VP of the airport.
Well, I'm assuming his heroics in the first airport movie got him a lot of press.
I mean, I could see if he saved like a senator's son, but I don't know. They just didn't treat invaluable jobs too well back then. But yeah, I really am surprised that a lot of the has-been actors in here from black and white eras and early 50s. We got Beverly Garland, got Ed Nelson, I already mentioned Glossed Over, but yeah, Guy Stockwell, Martha Scott.
And then a lot of the crew folks in the Universal star system.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Wait. Back to Heston really quick, though, because I don't think we've done his clothing enough justice here. Is his clothing on the Mount Rushmore of 70s stereotypes?
It needed its own star. It needed its own trailer. Yeah.
So for the majority of the film, he's wearing a yellow roll neck and a beige safari jacket with collars the size of goddamn ironing boards. It's astounding. It's a Halloween costume at this point. I want
one of those sunglasses.
He had sunglasses on at one point, right? Like the porn
were they aviators?
Yeah, I think so. Like they were like what like John Holmes would have worn in the 80s.
I think that goes back to the director. Definitely, that is all he knows. So he's bringing in his grimy grindhouse look for bigger budget pictures that need a totally different kind of visual style. I am convinced Sid Caesar was hired not to star, but to be the on-set joke teller. And then as a result, they're like, "Fuck it, screw it, put him in the movie."
I think he's great in this. I really like his performance in this.
He's having fun. I just find it weird that with the obscure amount of comedians and the amount of, uneven. That's saying it not. That's
There's
saying
some
it
uneven
nicely.
acting in here for sure.
That's saying it nicely.
Yeah,
I think
a little uneven.
I really legit think they just put it in, and there wasn't any care taken, and at the same time they're having fun, and that's all they had. But when you have the star of 7-7 Sunset Strip, Efron Zimbalist Jr.
Alfred.
Alfred, yes, from the recent animated Batman movie you guys covered.
That's right.
Yeah, I'm getting a feel that I don't know if it was just not much care or just saying let it speak for itself. People eat this up. I think they approached it like they did various 50s monster films, kind of.
Yeah, it's like a hangout movie. You're just to your point earlier, the actual disaster itself is pretty underwhelming.
What's the disaster?
It's super underwhelming.
What is it?
It's completely, you're just hanging out with this cast for a while. And I think, look, all joking aside, I love Charlton Heston. He's a great protagonist. Like, even a complete phone-in job for him on this.
He's still awesome.
He's
but
good.
Yeah,
he's good.
Let me zip line into the cockpit.
It's the best part.
This could have been his Mission Impossible at the time, and he would have done it. He would have said, "Have me back, and make sure you give me 5 times that check."
Add another point to my box office take.
But yeah, I think the critics are right in that Karen Black's never been shabby. She's always been a darling.
She's good in this movie. I really like her performance.
We got Miss Easy Rider here for this before Burnt Offering. She's already done some of the Bob Raffleson, Jack Nicholson film.
Well, was MASH like her big breakthrough, I guess?
Kinda, and but she approaches this with the same level of care she does in the infamous but popular and once banned TV movie Trilogy of Terror. So, and remember, she's having to act, alongside, inconceivable puppets monsters. So it's like, yeah, shit. She's treating those creatures just like she treats this plane. It is an object for me to act upside of, and I'm going to do my damnedest. Is like, yeah.
I give her a lot of credit because she is acting through some of the most ridiculous stuff I've ever seen a female lead put through. I think the criticism about this movie is valid. Like, they are really mean to her in this movie. They are treating her like a complete idiot.
I think she was just like,
yeah, right.
She knew the politics back then and everything. Don't want to be difficult. And at the same time, just, I'm going to let the movie speak for itself and I'm going to be good. You're not going to tell me I'm awful. And same thing with Heston is like, even it's a phone in, it's like, but I know how to act. Just going to say the lines, get it done, And it does go back to the whole theory of acting. After a while, if you've asked questions and no one's giving them, you just find your own. It's more than just character motivations. Like, just, I'm going to do my thing and hang out and get this done. This is just under contract.
At least they give her stuff to do, like the scene right after the crash where she basically takes control of the rest of the flight attendants and like explains to them, like, we're the ones that are going to have to, like, keep control of this situation.
Yes.
And she's really good in those scenes.
That's
and
true.
I think that's the beating heart of this movie, and that's ultimately why I find this movie watchable. Is despite all the other ridiculous shit that we're talking about, you are rooting for her. You really are.
Well, surprisingly, you also this the script may not be progressive, but surprisingly, the cast is very diverse. So it is kind of one of
Good
those.
point. Good point.
It's like this does nothing for anybody, but at the same time, this does give them careers and make them give commanding performances, even though the tone is non-existent. So it's like, yeah, it's both a miss and a win, kind of, because they do keep making it be a mixture of elder actors and actresses, as well as just other people of color. And we got so many other screen legends here, like Aldine King and Irene Sue. So it's just like, yeah, this may not be any of your top performances. You're not much to your character, but it's definitely one of the first 5 movies that's going to come up in your resume if I look for you now. So it's a win. I got paid. You saw me in some capacity. So when I show up on one of your dad's favorite 70s shows, I'm there too. So yeah.
I hope Kennedy got paid box office points, because he's the other thing that anchors this.
He's in all of them, so he made it over time if he didn't then, but that is a good question. If he was friends with the producers and said, hey, Smalls,
I'm sure he did, because they were wise enough to bring him back. They recognized what a good character he had been in the first film. I guess they also brought him back for just random continuity.
Yeah, I mean,
he's a really good double act with Heston. That's the other part of the film I think is actually like genuinely like quality. Like they have good chemistry together. I like all their stuff together. You totally buy that they're friends who have worked together for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have an observation about his character. So in the first film, Joe Petroni is married to a woman named Marie. They have 5 children. In this film, his wife is Helen, and they have a son.
Did he get divorced? Was it a miscast? Was it less care than the first script?
I was going to say, like, what are the chances this is just a continuity error and the screenwriters didn't give 2 shits?
I'm sure they didn't care.
It's 1,000% very high, because it happens all the time where you see misspellings is like different syllable. It's with an O, not an E. You see it all the time, and you're just like, I mean, they can't even get famous people's names right half the time, and you just go, yeah.
I'd love to be a fly on the wall of that convention reunion for the airport films, and you just have the one fan that asks about, hey, Joe Petroni's character and continuity with his family.
I didn't know this until I was doing the research for this. I told this to Anton. Cam, I don't know if you knew this. Did you know Airport 77 had a Universal theme park attraction?
I did not, but I wish they would bring that back.
100% I would go.
Was it underwater?
It must have been. I didn't click on the Wikipedia article. I didn't care that much. But
if the Jaws ride can still be there, if they can bring back the Waterworld ride.
They got rid of the Jaws ride.
Well, so one strike against them for taking away Airport ride, and then strike against them for taking Jaws. So, yeah, Universal, get off your candy you-know-whats, and bring us back that airport ride for old time's sake.
Give us Airport 77. Give us what we want.
Are we going to get a modern airport?
Oh,
I hope so. I genuinely hope so, Anton.
In a post-9/11
all
world?
the IP they're bringing back and recycling.
I don't know.
What do you mean you don't know? What, Anton, what? Of course you
Poseidon
don't.
2006 Part 2.
Yeah. You don't want Airport 2029?
I'll tell you what. If they do it with monsters and aliens, and they cast Wesley Snipes, and they once again have Kurt Russell sacrifice himself.
It has to be an ensemble film. That's a
yes,
first.
Of course, yeah.
And not with who you typically think. There has to be good camp.
Steve Zahn's in it.
Oh,
because he has to be.
Can Ron Perlman be the pilot?
I could see that.
I would want Ron Perlman in it.
We need someone who is serious but can do very funny stuff when you least expect it. And I would love if it was legit good camp. Like if it was something
if it's made this year, James Hong can still be in it.
Oh man,
yes.
They better get on it
now.
now.
Be a stowaway like Helen Hayes in the first film to win an Oscar.
I kind of want him to be the head of the airport, like the traffic direct controller guy who goes, "Oh no,
we need a drunk. Who plays our drunk?
Bert Kreischer.
Bert Kreischer.
Yeah,
he's just shirtless the whole time.
Can he
passes out like what's his name in this film? Jerry Stiller just passes out at one point. Jerry Stiller,
but he's got to have a mentor. Can it be Nick Nolte?
Yeah.
Oh, does James Woods make the cut?
I don't think so.
He could be the first to die.
Who could be our athlete cameo?
Tom Brady.
You want to go there? Sure.
Yeah.
Then
Because Tom Brady's like, I need to be in Hollywood.
Then we got to have Ron Grabowski be the co-pilot, and we got to have
Like Kareem.
We need something.
That'd be so funny.
Who's going to be
the greatest athlete cameo ever? Kareem in Airplane. It has to be, right?
Oh, it's amazing.
It has to be. Like,
that would be funny though if they did come out with an airport rehash, but then one of the Zucker brothers was a consultant on it.
Oh. No, I think it would earnestly need to be serious.
I think so too, which is why you gotta fit each archetype, right?
But it would be brilliant though if it had like some acclaimed director and it had comedians who can do drama all in it. Like, would you see it still? Like, if it was comedians
like
being
Ryan
serious?
Gosling is like perfect at this, like deadpan.
You could have him. I would like it if Jack Black was one of the flight attendants and actually got an award nomination. That'd be amazing. He's like, you're gonna die, man. I would have had Bill Paxton in this years ago. Rest in peace.
We need more actors that had their that had their era, but then people are like, where did they go?
F. Murray Abraham.
Jason Bigg.
F. Murray Abraham.
Jason,
there you go.
I like both those. Those both would work. Years ago, I would have definitely cast Whoopi Goldberg or Richard Belzer in this. That would have been amazing.
We need a musician actor.
I'm trying to think.
Common?
Sure.
Could do Common. LL Cool J.
We got it. We gotta get up there. Yeah.
Because Common was just in or he was in Smokin' Aces.
How about both? Common's one of the air traffic guys. Like, we gotta get there, and LL Cool J will be he can be one of the backup. He can be the U.S. Marshal. There
Head
you go.
of TSA.
Wait, no. The U.S. Marshal has to be 50 Cent.
U.S. Air Marshal 50 Cent.
The more comedians and rappers we can put and rock stars we can put in this. I would have put Tom Petty in one of these years ago, but
yes, that is a Boondocks reference for anyone listening.
Yes,
that's awesome. Stop these terrorists who die trying.
Okay, well, now that you've opened the floodgates, this has to be a sequel to Snakes on a Plane. Sam Jackson must return once again, rescuing someone.
And
Universal, if you're listening to this episode, like, please remake.
Why the
Airport,
fuck are you not listening?
Can Tom Arnold be the divorced dad on the flight, trying to get to his kid's birthday party?
Especially looking at Tom Arnold now versus snarky Tom Arnold then.
You know what the best thing about all the
Soul
names,
Plane 2.
almost all the names we're throwing out, keeping in line with the Airport series, they're all affordable.
Yes.
They're all affordable.
I can see the appeal now because the discussion that we're having, I'm sure studio executives were, who could we get with a roll of quarters?
Well, I mean, I wanted to ask both of you about this. How was the budget only $3 million? And then I was thinking about it. I'm like, I don't think any of these guys, other than Heston and maybe Kennedy.
It went to Heston. Everyone else got peanuts.
But Heston took points in lieu of a bigger salary.
Smart.
Yeah, residuals.
Like,
later
how
on.
much do you really think Myrna Loy made off this? $100,000, maybe? Like,
definitely more than Karen Black at that time. And it goes back to what you're saying with Kennedy. He might have asked for something on the back end, but they still didn't pay character actors much anything back then, unless you just really knew how to be a hustler and negotiate.
This had a significantly smaller budget than the first one. The first one was a $10 million budget, which is like, that's like 80, 90 million bucks back then. They spent money on the first one. They did not want to spend money.
They wanted to coast on the fame and the notoriety of the first movie. This could be they should do an airport homage mystery on that upcoming X-Files anthology show. But they could also, I'm really surprised. I almost have a feeling that even with the most hackneyed producers with bad ideas, they must have just been like, I don't know how to sell this, even with all the other disaster movies we phoned in on. It is kind of a quandary, especially with people who make a living doing sucky material. It's just like, I think a lot of them just don't want to take the bullet. They don't want to be a remake of a sequelized franchise in this day and age.
Well, we can dream. Moving through the rest of the cast, we have Helen Reddy as the singing nun, which got lampooned in Airplane. I still can't believe this was written into this film. It's insane.
I just can't.
Almost insane is the purple seats and the couches. Nuts.
The irony is most of us grew up watching Airplane. We just thought that was part of it. It's like, nope, we're We're quoting and copying and pasting verbatim.
Linda Blair's role in this is also insane.
Yes.
It got me thinking too. It's like, don't they fly kidneys to you?
Not
Isn't it easier?
not when you're Linda Blair.
No.
The irony of that trope is, given the amount of disaster movie completist that I have seen that trope be imitated in otherwise decent to rubbish TV movies. They love having an injured pilot co-pilot it with a kid who's very smart. So it is one of those, if they did that now, you would have to be part Rain Man, you would have to be part just some other just, I know everything. Yeah, just my...
Oh, Mother, I can't believe we're going to Los Angeles. At what point did you expect her to projectile vomit?
I was ready for it.
I didn't want to go there. I just thought she was going to perform an exorcism on someone saying, now I know how to do it.
There's a hilarious thing about this film I noticed. They don't strap her into the couch. There's no seatbelt on the couch. They just have her lie there. It's hilarious.
That must have been
she's just being comfy.
That must have been a prerequisite. Absolutely no tying me up. I've already done that.
I know she's going to fly, but make sure you don't use a seatbelt. And be sure to offer her a cigarette. She's 15.
Yeah, they were totally health conscious back then. It would have been funny, though, if they just had worked something else in, just randomly had a sword fight with someone on board, or just pulled a Highlander. I just electrify myself and become immortalized or something. But no, they couldn't even do the supernatural aspect. They had to say, we are doing everything wrong, but we still want it to be in-world universe. But I'm telling you, this needed aliens.
Aliens would make this a Best Picture winner. I don't think The Godfather 2 would have stood a chance.
Gremlins would have made this better. Joe Dante, you should have recut this movie.
Joe Dante could definitely direct an airport movie.
And it would have been legit funny. Like he
It
would
would
have
have been hilarious.
He would have made fun of how crappy airports are and how they don't care about passenger safety back then, especially.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, I think airline travel was far more dangerous then. Like hijackings were a thing.
Yeah.
It's
ransom guys who weren't very inept. They're like, send the money by plane.
Have you guys ever seen Skyjacked?
I think I have. Yeah.
No, I haven't.
Okay, so it came out a couple years before this.
Mm-hmm.
It is also a film starring Charlton Heston where he plays like a kind of an air marshal on a plane that gets hijacked by terrorists.
Good old.
It's as bad as you think it is.
Okay,
but it's
Claude
fun.
Akins.
Yeah,
but it's a good time.
Oh,
I recall it being decent compared to this.
It's all right. Gloria Swanson. It's the most meta thing. You can't explain it. Like, oh well, I'll just play myself.
If they did this now, it would be starring Kevin Hart, or even years before, they would have said Kobe Bryant, as themselves, on the plane. Yeah,
it's just
stand-up comedian. They could totally do it with, but at this point, they would probably have it be a political candidate.
I mean, we've hit most of the cast. I mean, Anton, you were talking about Jim Plunkett. He has one line, the quarterback, the famous quarterback.
Which at this point, if they really wanted to pick an athlete to be in the film, but they didn't want to spend a pretty penny, they picked the right QB for it.
Why he's barely recognizable in this shot too? I don't get it. They cut stuff out, right? I'm assuming.
Patrick, you got to remember, the quarterback is toast. It all goes back to Doug Harris.
I guess. I mean, he
just. I mean, look, they went with an Oakland Raider, so they knew they could get a discount.
Anton doesn't approve of that team, do you?
No. I'm a 49er fan through and through.
I feel like this should have been the first movie to feature Infamous Reviews as its slogan, as its taglines. Like, there's a great bad review of it saying another sequel that should have been grounded. That should have done something sarcastic to make it better, like ground this, something like that.
Anything to add about the cast before we move on to the last reason?
If they were gonna follow through on the Gloria Swanson stuff, they should have made this definitely more meta. Going back to Anton's point, is like, if they were gonna do that, they should have absolutely followed through on that. They should have, for all we care, had a musical sequence. It just had something that broke all kinds of barriers to where you couldn't describe it. I would have settled for Rocky Horror type camp at this rate. But everything we're doing sounds even worse. But trust me, it would be better than what we got, because it's still dumbfounding before you get to the serious angle, which is still Airport Light.
Right. There's some soap opera stuff, the struggling couple, Heston and Karen Black.
If they'd just done the frills and maybe had the comedy in the last half or something to congratulate him, that could. So there you go. The stuff that he encountered, the singing nun could have worked had that been just a random annoying person at the airport terminal that they encounter, and they were like, oh, that would have been perfect. Charlton Heston gets back and goes, I kind of wish I was back on a plane instead of listening to that. But it's like they took stuff and then I feel like they filmed it out of order and just stapled it together. It's like, it doesn't matter really. It's like,
no one's allowed to do that on planes anymore, right? Like if you just try to bring out your guitar and play on a plane, like you're going to be told to stop.
Oh, I think you're probably like, you might get arrested at the gate when you arrive at your destination.
Yeah.
They're going to tell you, like, put that away. I think they probably make you check an instrument too. I don't even think they let you bring it on.
Air marshals, like, that's enough.
They had the bomb scare in movie 1. I'm surprised they didn't bring that back for this, given how formulaic sequels were then and are now. I mean,
well, I think we can move into the next reason with the plot, the scenes, the production, because you're making a good point, Cam. I think one of the things that makes the first Airport, I think, pretty good is the bomb plot gets established early, and it does establish really good tension throughout the movie to the point when he actually sets off the bomb. I found it shocking. I didn't think he was going to do it.
Well, that's true. And plus, before that, you have the plot twist of the fake out. Who's the bomber? Who's the one who put it there? Blah, blah, blah.
Right.
You don't have any of that, Agatha Christie level pointing fingers at each other.
No.
Instead, they're too busy out weirding each other. I really legit feel like the actors had a measuring contest and said, I can be weirder or wackier than you. That's not with the movie, but I think the director... I almost wonder if the director just did not get along or wasn't a people person and just said, to hell with it. That's what we got. You wanted it. You're not giving me the budget to take my leisure. I can't find any interviews with any of the airport directors, so sorry, guys, this is just all speculation.
Oh, I think it's pretty educated speculation, though. This is definitely a movie. They didn't do a lot of takes on anything. I mean, my favorite shot in the film, so right after the crash, you remember there's this long pan where the camera is panning across all the aisles, getting all the reactions of the passengers. And it is some of the most outrageous, hilarious Irwin Allen acting. You can tell they're just throwing themselves around and it is amazing. I love it. I am also making the point here, were the camera crew drunk? Because there are several scenes, this happens more than a few times, where the camera like jolts. And like, did you guys notice this too? It's like everything should have been steady, and I don't know what was going on, other than there must have been an open bar on set at all times.
If there was a higher quality film, maybe I would have questioned it. But the fact that we have the whole product, I have to just say it must have been a stylistic choice.
Well, and like you say, it would have actually been original and groundbreaking had there been an actual like bar on the plane, and they were trying to have a subplot saying keep the wine all contained in the coolers, blah blah blah, without shattering.
There is a bar on the plane. They don't really show it that much though. It's on the upper deck of the 747.
So I've already forgotten because they don't
do a good job of showing it, but it's basically right behind the cockpit. You see it in like a handful of shots, but they don't show it prominently.
Do you feel like, given how they filmed this in two different areas, if they just ran out of sound stages to use, like, because I don't expect consistency, but some of the different angles look like they're totally different planes. And again, I'm not an expert. I would have to ask an aviation guy.
I think you're right. I got the impression that like every scene was shot in like maybe 2 or 3 takes.
Definitely. I'm totally with that theory, because that tracks. I'm just wondering if there was maybe Anton's right. Maybe there was a subplot deleted, but it was just more junky than what the other stuff we had. So they couldn't, at that part, the barometer of what is quality is already corrupted. So it's just like, I mean, Roger Ebert surprisingly was okay with us saying good, exciting, corny escapism. So
sounds right.
I'm beside myself.
Escaping too.
Yeah, what's the escapism? And Scott Weinberg considers this the best of the sequels, though that's hardly a glowing recommendation. And I'm like, well...
I actually might agree with that, because I watched this back-to-back with 77.
77, yes.
77 is generally regarded as the more fun movie.
Yes.
And I think there might be some truth to that, but I actually found 77 so much dumber than this. Because at
Too
least
much.
in this one, I'm not saying it's believable, but the little plane crashing into the cockpit of the bigger plane and killing the pilots is at least somewhat plausible.
Yeah.
Whereas the
well,
plot of 77 is so ridiculously stupid. But maybe it'll be more fun to talk about when we cover it, Anton. I'm not sure.
You've
It'll
hinted
be a
about it
good
before.
time.
I'll just say this though, like at least that one kind of is trying to. This sounds stupid to even go here. It's kind of trying to be consistent with its stupidity. While this one, I feel like they're still, once they're on the ground, they're still trying to be like the first movie, and then by the time they get in the air, they're like, let's just get zanier, let's get dumber, let's get more bizarre and inconsistent. So I guess this is also the customer's always right thing, because this made money, so therefore,
Yeah.
and no one is giving a damn to ask why it's working. So I think in many ways, you have the audience to blame on this. And I say that as a collector of disaster stuff, you get to that point where it's like, I'm going to go regardless, and I don't even know why I'm going. It's out. It's going to be epic on the cinema. And I will say, disaster movies were epic in theaters.
Right.
Even garbage ones, you're going to see. So it's kind of redundant to even complain about them. And at the same time, it is also a quandary. And when do you leave the quality of any of these behind? How can you even... I mean, this was always pretty hard in screenwriting when you would ask, how do I do a disaster movies? And people would often say, I don't like those kinds of movies. There's not often good scripts, but how do I do a good script for it if I wanted to make one? So I think we just have it's a systematic issue, not to get over political. It's just like, yeah, we just kind of get to where it's like people don't really know what they want after a while. And there's not, if you're doing a test screening of these kinds of movies, often you're just going to take out a scene that got too many unintended laughs. But if
Right.
you're unintentionally laughing the whole time, then at that point you're just kind of like, hey, we're just going to serve as is. It's a damaged goods, So
it's tough. Well, I mean, it sounds like we're being harsh on this movie, but I think like all of us like took a lot of enjoyment from it.
Yes, you're gonna love my rating.
I was gonna say like anything to add before we give our ratings. I have one thing after you go, or go ahead.
I just find it so funny how George Kennedy is going to keep getting promotions throughout this movie. So if anything, they get his character right.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
He goes from being after this to a consultant and then a pilot. It's just like, wow. With the Federation World Airlines, just like, what kind of name is that?
My one last point before we give our ratings is Anton knows what I'm talking about. There are several shots of Karen Black during the helicopter rescue attempt where she is trying to reach for the rescuer, like the rescue line, and she's like basically staring into the camera with her tongue out, like. And I can post a screenshot of this on Instagram or Twitter or whatever. It is one of the most unintentionally hilarious things I think ever put to cinema. You know exactly what I'm talking about, right, Cam?
Yes, it looks like Ralphie in A Christmas Story.
Right. It just goes to the whole tone of this film where I don't know if they realized how funny people would find it years later.
Megan Thee Stallion, you got competition with the tongue.
Well, then, ratings. Cam, as our guest, you have the opportunity to go first if you'd like.
So, as with all the points given, it's not awful to where you want to turn it off. I'm not George C. Scott in hardcore, turn it off, but I'm also not at the level of this is so, perfect, must see, even cheesy fun. So it ranks definitely as a C-. It is one of those, you're going to see it as a disaster movie completist. If you want to see what people were watching at the Cineplexes during that time, if you like the first movie, inevitably you're going to check it out for morbid curiosity. In terms of entertainment value, it's an A-, but it still has to be a C- for objectively, because it could have worked. It is less problematic than the other two sequels that follow. Mild spoiler, but at the same time, it's a missed opportunity, because you do feel like had they eliminated some of the dorky scenes, you would have had a way more halfway decent film than what transpired. You could have made up for the lackluster dialogue and bland surprises with at least something watchable. Unfortunately, it's watchable bad, so I have to put it in the C minus.
I love the rating. I'm not far off from you.
Oh, okay.
I really enjoy this movie despite its obvious flaws. I view this in the same vein as a Steven Seagal movie, stuff that we've covered on the pod previously,
Yes.
Anton, like an Under Siege too. This is beyond dated. It is horrendously cheesy. There are some incredibly uneven performances, really janky production values. The disaster itself, I think it's straightforward enough, and it has protagonists that you're at least rooting for. I can root for Charlton Heston and George Kennedy and Carrion Black. I think they carry this film along. I also think it's pretty quotable, which is a point in its favor. I have a soft spot for this series. I can't entirely justify it. This is a guilty pleasure, like junk food type of movie. It's a bad movie, but it's a good bad movie, and there's a difference. And our listeners will know what I mean. If you love Airplane, which a lot of people do, I think this is absolutely worth checking out, and I recommend it because it takes so much material from this film. It has its place in history. I give it a C. I can't go above that because of just it is not good, but it is very watchable, and I would certainly watch it again. And I give it a C.
Perfect.
Yeah, this is a very interesting film. The rewatchability levels are off the charts, and as you've listened to this episode, you know it's not because of the quality of the acting. It's almost quite the opposite. It's not because of this endearing plot. It's quite the opposite. But all of those elements together have made such an entertaining film. And it's obviously in the so bad it's good category. And I am for it. I feel like there's always going to be a time for those kinds of films. It's not because of the film's quality. It's not because of the ultra cool special effects that we get in the film, which we don't get any. And I could go on and on about what makes this film bad, but what the saving grace for the film, it's that whole list of things that I could go on saying that's bad, is what make me really enjoy it. So, hey, joke's on me. This film did great at the box office, and I can't think of other films that fall in the same category that also do quite as well. And I'm looking at you, Showgirls. You're so bad you're good, but you didn't do this well. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm right there with you, Pat. I'm at a C.
Love it. Well, that's it for Airport 1975. Cam, this was a hoot.
Yes.
Such a good time. Cam, always loved you and
perfect.
your masterful knowledge.
Oh, Anton, I learned it from you guys. You guys have been meditating for a while on this, but I'm loving where you're going to take this franchise next. And I mean, this joins a group of your other franchises you guys have tackled. It's fun to take a break from all the other movies that just leave us exhausted and emotionally drained. So
this didn't leave me emotionally drained. This left me emotionally perplexed.
Emotionally perplexed and determined to find out whether or not you can successfully order a Boilermaker on a flight in 2026.
Yeah, it's going to be still a recurring what if. I mean, it's even funnier how all these movies have been reused by schlocky B-movie producers. They don't care. They're going to use all the stock footage from all these movies and make something even more infamous. And it is kind of funny, though, how, we didn't even wonder about the accuracy of the plane because that kind of went without saying, but we just went with this, like...
Yeah, that's baloney.
Well,
I mean, whatever.
Well, obviously they're not going to wear the right pilot, ranking and all that insignia. Is like, we just got to wonder, is like, who is this for? Is there any kind of entertainment? But yeah, with a so bad it's good category, it could have been worse. It could have been a D+, but we still enjoyed watching it mildly if we're hammered. So it's like, yeah, no, this is the case. It's bad, but you'll probably put it on at a party. I don't think anyone will leave.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone will leave because, like you guys just joked, it's not Showgirls level where you're just like, I don't know what I'm watching and I hate everything I see and I'm going kaput now because my brain has, exploded 5 times in a row. And I think your cranium will blow up 5 times in a row, but you'll also just have a shit-eating grin, I think. Because you'll just be like, this is what people thought was entertainment back then.
These were the Avengers movies of their day. Well, Cam, great having you on. We look forward to not only having you back, but I look forward to appearing on your podcast again.
Yes.
That is it for Airport.
Anton, Don't feel left out.
I'll find the time. I will find the time.
Yeah, Anton will be there. That is it for Airport 1975. That is it for this edition of Why Wasn't It Better? Thanks for listening, and see you next time.
A beautiful crash landing.
Climb, baby, climb.